My daughters are gone. The entire royal wing has been searched. They are not there. Find them, now!
The royal corridors of the Aelith Station were never quiet, not even at the third hour of the deep cycle, when most of the crew slept and the overhead lights dimmed to a faint, cold blue. But on this particular night, they were not just busy. They were in crisis. Queen Zyrael stood at the center of the royal observation deck, her silver and black ceremonial armor catching the light like the surface of a frozen sea. Her long platinum braids, dozens of them, woven with crystalline beads that marked her bloodline, fell over her armored shoulders as she turned sharply toward her head guard, Commander Vale. How long? Her voice was low, controlled. The kind of control that meant the fury beneath it was enormous. 2 hours, Your Majesty, Vale said. We discovered their chambers empty at the second cycle bell. Both Princess Lyra and Princess Sail, gone. The room showed no signs of a struggle. No forced entry. The corridor sensors detected no unauthorized movement. Zyrael's jaw tightened. Her daughters were 8 and 6, half human, half Aelithai, with her deep sky-blue skin and large silver eyes, but their father's soft human features. She had always known that their mixed heritage made them targets for those in the Empire who believed the old bloodline should remain pure. But she had believed, foolishly perhaps, that aboard the station, her station, they were safe. Search every level, she ordered. Every room. I do not care whose quarters you disturb. The search swept through the upper decks quickly. Research labs, the medical bay, the engineering wing, the officers' quarters, all checked, all clear. It was when the search party reached the mid-level residential corridors that Commander Vale received the transmission that stopped him cold. Your Majesty. His voice, coming through the calm in her earpiece, was careful. We have located the princesses. They are unharmed. Zyrael exhaled, but only slightly. Where? A pause. Quarters 7G. The room assigned to the human liaison. Ethan Calloway. She was moving before Vale finished the sentence. Ethan Calloway had been stationed aboard the Aelith as Earth's diplomatic representative for 11 months. He was 32, dark-haired, quiet in the way that meant he was always thinking. He had learned the Aelithai greeting protocols within his first week, had never once overstepped the boundaries of his role, and had, much to the curiosity of the ship's crew, become something of a favorite among the station's children, who found him endlessly fascinating simply because he was human. Zyrael had kept her distance. She was a queen. He was a guest. The lines had always been clear. She reached the door of quarters 7G, with 4 guards behind her. The door had not been locked. She pressed it open herself. The room was dim, lit only by the faint amber glow of a reading lamp on the far wall. On the wide sleep platform, Ethan lay on his side, one arm stretched across the white bedding. Curled against him, tucked close, completely at ease, breathing the slow, deep breaths of children lost in the safest sleep, were Lyra and Sail. Lyra had her small blue hand pressed flat against Ethan's chest, her silver eyes closed, her braids fanned out across the pillow. Sail was curled at his back, one little fist gripping the fabric of his sleeve. Both girls wore their soft gray sleeping clothes. Neither had stirred at the sound of the door. Ethan, for his part, was also deeply asleep, entirely unaware that he had been found, that guards were standing in the doorway of his room, or that the Queen of the Aelithai Empire was staring at him with an expression she could not quite compose. One of the guards moved forward instinctively to wake the children. Zyrael raised one hand, a single sharp gesture, and he stopped. She stepped closer, alone, and stood at the edge of the platform. From this distance, she could see everything clearly. The way Lyra had pressed herself close as though Ethan were a warm, steady wall the world could not get past. The way Sale had chosen the spot at his back, the most instinctive position of trust, where you placed yourself only when you felt completely, absolutely safe. Her daughters had never done this with anyone. Not the nurses. Not the other diplomats. Not even, she realized with a quiet ache, with her. Not since they were very small, before the weight of being a queen had made her less available than she wished. She did not wake them. Instead, she stood there for a long moment, in the dim amber light, watching her daughters sleep. The rigidity in her armor, in her posture, in her expression, softened by degrees she could not fully account for. When Commander Vale appeared silently at her shoulder, she spoke in barely a whisper. "Post a guard at the door. Do not wake them." He blinked, surprised but obedient. "And the human?" "He is clearly not a threat," she said, with a precision that left no room for argument. "He is asleep." Vale withdrew. Zyrael remained. Ethan stirred then, not fully waking, but shifting slightly, his arm adjusting unconsciously to keep the small warmth of Lyra from sliding away. Even in sleep, he had done it naturally, without thought, without performance. Zyrael sat down slowly in the chair beside the platform. She told herself it was because she needed to be present when her daughters woke. She told herself it was protocol. She did not examine the other reason too closely, the one that had to do with the way Ethan Calloway had, without trying, without asking, become the place her daughters ran to when the galaxy felt too large and too cold. The one that made her wonder, quietly, in the blue-dimmed silence of that borrowed room, when she had last been someone's reason to feel safe. Outside, the deep cycle continued. The station hummed. The stars drifted past the porthole in slow, silver arcs. Inside, the Queen of the Aelith sat beside a sleeping human and two sleeping daughters, and for the first time in longer than she could remember, she did not move. She did not command. She did not rule. She simply stayed. And somewhere beneath the armor, beneath the crown, beneath every responsibility she had ever carried, something in her, very quietly, began to rest as well. She didn't leave. The queen of an empire sat beside a sleeping human and her daughters, and for the first time in years, she wasn't ruling. She was just a mother. And something deep inside her, long frozen, quietly began to thaw.